Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to be working on this stone right here, and I'm going to show you a method that I use to check tricky stones, especially ones with multiple color bars, and even more especially because it's meant to be. Meant to be, you can see here, it looks really nice from the side, but these bars that look nice from the side are rarely looking great from the face. And also, when you're cutting opal, if you fully commit and you go from one side, then you never know if the other side was better. So I'm going to show you a way that with a Dremel you can actually check a lot of these bars without doing too much damage to the stone. It's a bit of a low risk, kind of low reward kind of thing, but every now and then you do manage to get somewhere where you test one bar, no good, test the second bar and it's really good and you can commit to the full stone that way. Or you can choose to do some slicing. On this one we're probably not going to do slicing, but we'll see. It depends on how these results come through. So you can see here, in particular, there's one bar at the top here, light, bit of red, probably not that great. From the top you can see that this potch has got a really dispersed blue, also not that great. Really where I'd be putting my money is more on this green here, or this translucent layer here. You can see there, it doesn't look great from the side, but like I said before, when it looks great from the side, it can look terrible from a face. This one here might actually face. I've had a few Minterbees where that kind of bar has turned out really good on the front. And then of course there's some thinner bars further down here. But what we're going to do, because it's a strange shaped stone anyway, we're going to come down from this edge and just come down and test each one of these bars. Worst case scenario, you end up wasting just this little corner over here, which is only a couple carats out of this 300 carat stone. And I'll keep it brief like that because we've done a whole video analysing the stone in more detail, wet and dry. So feel free to check out that video, but otherwise I'm just going to go ahead and whip out the sintered diamonds. This corner is the one we're going to be focusing on. We're going to see if we can get a face of red. If not, looks like we've got a blue face under that. So this blue one, maybe there's a light green one there, and then there's a deeper green one here and a really deep green and orange if you look at it from this side, but it doesn't seem to translate all that well to this corner. So we're just going to go down here and have a quick little look because I can't see enough of the bar. Maybe this one will face pretty well. There's also possibly a sneaky one right down the bottom here in the dark, which is probably too thin for most people, but I'm going to give it a crack because I've dealt with thinner color bars than that. So let's get spinning. And we are spinning. Yes, that's a stencil. That is me putting a stencil on this stone. You rarely see it on this channel, but I just wanted to get a good idea of what the ideal stone would be on this surface, because these bars are pretty straight. Dremeling's all well and good, but if you can fit a really nice oval onto a shape, it is how you're going to get the best value out of the stone. So I just wanted to see where my little extra bits were so that I could do this Dremel testing cheating technique. So now to do it, I whip out the 120 grit sintered diamond. I really like this hard edged cylinder, like the sharp edge, because I can cut a straight line across here, right where that texture line is, and it'll give me a great guide to get started on the rest of the burrs. Even if you switch to a rounded one, at least you've got that one straight edge there. So there's going to be a lot of jumping backwards and forwards. Well, not so much backwards, but forwards, because there's a lot of bars to check here and we want to get through them nice and quick. So you can see here, working on that red one, getting pretty close to it, so switching over to the 600 grit, and you'll see this cycle repeat quite often. I do throw in the 80 grit there because there's some large potch bars between these color bars. It's not just color on color, unfortunately, or you could do a nice little side shot opal. I mean, you still could, but the slice would look a little bit lackluster. But you can see here, we're just going at it. I'm just keeping the point up against that guideline that the blue 120 put in there. And we're just going to go down nice and gentle right before the color, and then just hold it in the water, have a good check, because it gives it a little bit of magnification. Look at it outside of the water as well. But not seeing anything on this red bar, nothing worth keeping. So we're going to go through and test the next one, and it's not too far. So we switch back to the 120. Use that nice sharp edge and then just dive down onto that bar again. I'm doing it in a bit of a staged approach, so you'll see a lot of steps throughout this process just so that I can keep track of the other ones. And if I was doing this on a stone and not recording it, I wouldn't be putting these steps in. This is just so that we can do a bit of a recap at the end of the video. So here you can see I'm looking at the next bar because this one failed and it's a long distance. It's a long distance. We're talking maybe 4 mils or something. So switching over to the 80 grits into diamond and just buzzing down there just nice and quick. Otherwise I'd be there all day trying to get down to it, and we can't do that. Instead, this will only take just a few seconds really. So less than a minute, dive down to the next bar and then switch back before you start to hit it. Very important, the 80 grit will chew really quick, so that's where I'm pulling up. As you can see, I'm just off the bar, and then we go into the 600. You could use the 120, but I like to be safe. So 600 and just brush it up, just have a good look at it. And you can see we may have hit our first decent bar. And this is probably the best looking bar from the get-go anyway, just from the side shot, but it's very nice to see that this face is not too bad. It's a little bit foggy, so I'm now looking at that nice bright lightning blue. And to get to that lightning blue, we will just go with the 120 grit again, put another step in so we can keep track of this previous one as well. I'm just brushing it up a little bit more, just having a look at this purpley kind of part of the bar. Bit out of focus there, but nice purpley part, but we're still a little way off. And switch over to the 600 to play it nice and safe. Have a quick look, and look at that. So we're deep past that first crystal bar, and now we're on to that second, and there's a little bit of purple instead of green now. Both bars are pretty good. I think a lot of the time they'll cross over, but even here you can see we've tested even further bars and we're getting nothing now. So that blue purple is the last good one. And then I just want to check from the other direction. So we've picked another little tiny edge of the stone, and here I'm just taking off far less than last time and just grinding down with the 80 than the 120, just to have a look at some of these bars that were in the dark potch. But as you can see, I'm not stopping and not showing you too much until this bar, because the other ones were absolutely nothing. But this one's facing, so we're in luck. And then one small bonus one, if you've got a bar that you just quickly want to check from the edge, you can actually use one of those sharp edged burrs and just drill in and have a look, but this one's a bit of a dud. Worth checking. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we've had a very good play with this stone, huge stone, and you can see what we've done here. And I've done it in a way where we kind of step and have a look at a few different things. So we saw up here, up the top, this thin red hue kind of bar, nothing really. This blue, too dispersed to be useful. And it's not until we get to this bright green bar here where we found our first layer of potential. So you can see there, that's the bluer flash. So that bluer flash is on the top side as we're looking at this stone. That bar right there is actually pretty good. I imagine it would be even better from the other side down. But after getting through that, we went through and just checked this bar just on the slight edge. The best thing with the Dremel is that we don't even have to, we initially started way back here, but because of how much length there was there, we could actually step it out and just take smaller and smaller chips out. And I wanted to just check a couple bars here. They weren't overly great, though I think up this end, we've done another check, because going down this way, we didn't really get to catch much of this bar here. It didn't face all that well from this side up. But from this side, it did face actually surprisingly well. So there we had another second bar right there that you can see. Pretty good. And then I just wanted to showcase another additional little cheat technique you could do with the Dremel. And where did we do that? We did, that's right. We wanted to check on the other side here. I wanted to check this dispersed jelly kind of looking one, because I thought it looked jelly from the side, but inside here it might look really good from the face. So I just did a drill in method and just had a small little ledge here to check, and unfortunately nothing really came of it, so this isn't overly great. So now there's some tough decisions to make, because this looks really great from this side, this looks great from this side, but I think it could be equally as good, if not better, from the other side, because it will have more of this crystal coloured backing in the face of the stone. So there is a chance that you could go for a double-sided, but I'm going to toss up the idea of slicing that little potchy line, just because even though I thought that there was still a small chance that this would face really well from one direction or the other, it turns out not so much. So I think if we sliced it, we would get a really nice green stone facing this way, and then a really good blue stone from this side here. And both color bars kind of peter out towards the opposite end. So the blue one's really great, but towards this end there's not much of it. And this green one's really great until over here where we checked it and it's kind of gone to nothing. So it might actually be 2 stones with a slice down the middle. I'm going to have to really think about that, and I'm going to have to go visit someone with a trim saw to get this sorted out, because I'm not going to be able to do this cut with a Dremel. It's just too big. Way too big as is. And speaking of big, let's give it a quick little weigh. It's still wet. I can give it a quick dry. So I've given it a quick little dry, and we started at about 270, and you can see here we've only lost like 4 carats or so. I can't remember the exact number, but not a lot. In terms of percentage, we've only taken away about 1%, and we've learnt so much about the stone. We've seen this bar and how it faces from this direction. We've seen all of these bars and how they face from this direction. And we've landed ourselves a good bar here. Probably going to be a very decent stone. Bar seems to peter out about there. It does go right to the end, and with the Dremel I could be really careful and maybe get more, but it does seem to get thin after the first inch or so. And then this one, same kind of thing. An inch from this side, it's really good, and then it peters out into this dark potch area. So I'll have a good think about this stone, talk to the owner, and we'll come up with a decision from there. It's very good news though, because this could have been a couple $100 stone that went to nothing, or a couple $100 stone that could go to a couple, well, now more than one couple $100 stone, maybe even a couple $1,000 in this one. So very good news. I always hold my breath a little bit with this Minterview, but there were clearly 2 pretty good bars here. And it turns out, if we slice down the middle, we might even get 2 really good stones out of it. Huge as well. And if that's the case, because of how straight these bars are, I would actually, as rarely as I ever do it, I'd be stenciling out that oval, the one that I had on there at the start, and I would be trimming to that. You can take some offcuts and stuff as well, but yeah, I'd be getting 2 massive ovals out of that. They are huge. And they would be 2 incredible pendant stones. There's a bit of a guide on size. It would be absolutely huge, more than an inch. Well, almost 2 inches by an inch. It's absolutely an amazing stone, and I think the buyer of this one is going to be incredibly happy when they get it done. And I don't know if I'll be the one to do it. We'll have a chat, because I'd like to do it with a trim saw, but that might take some time because I don't have one myself. And there's no way I'm doing this one with the Dremel. The blade is too thick, and the depth of this cut is just a little bit more than I would want to do with the Dremel, just because they might not meet perfectly in the middle, and this one needs precision. We've only got a few mils there to play with, so you really need to hit it in the middle and then just take off both little skins on the face and end up with 2 incredible stones. That's it for this one. I'll see you guys in the next one.